Hey, security pros, welcome to another Hacker News webinar. My name is James Azar. I'm a Chief Information Security Officer and moderator of today's webinar. Really excited to have all y'all here with us. Sarah, Noah, welcome to the Hacker News webinar. I hope you're ready to bring it today.
Absolutely.
We are.
Okay, because we're going to be talking about securing identity lifecycle during today's webinar. For all you that are still rolling into the room here, let's get some housekeeping stuff out the way because we want to be respectful of your time. Thank you for taking time to be with us here today. Comments, questions are welcome. The beauty of these webinars, because we do them the way we do them, is it's more of a conversation with you, our audience. So please, the more comments you have, the more questions you have, the more we want to see them. We don't promise we're going to get to all of them. And if we can't, Noah and Sarah have personally guaranteed me that they will be answering every single one of them. Every single one of them. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our amazing speakers today. Sarah is the Director of Product Strategy for Beyond Identity. She's also co-founded ID Pro for those who are identity practitioners. You've heard of ID Pro before. She was a contributor, or is a contributor, sorry, to the NIST 863 Digital Identity Guidelines and the O'Reilly 97 Things Every Cloud Engineer Should Know. She's a titan in identity named by Okta Ventures, and she's spoken at RSA, Identityverse, and so many others. Sarah, welcome to the Hacker News webinar. It's a pleasure to have you here. And right there in the middle of your screen, you should see Noah. Noah spent a decade translating complex technology products into compelling stories. He is currently the Director of Product Marketing at Nametag, the identity verification company, revolutionizing how companies protect their workforce against emerging AI-powered impersonation threats. Prior to that, he was at Nuance Communications, which was acquired by Microsoft, which means it went to die somewhere. So I'm kidding. I'm joking. That was just me saying what I say. All right, Sarah, floor is all yours. Walk us through securing identity lifecycle.
Thanks, James. Hi, everybody. So we're here to talk about how Noah and I are working together on a new partnership between Beyond Identity and Nametag. I don't know if you've heard of either one of us, so we're going to explain what our companies do a little bit and how we're changing the way that we want to do identity in the future. We think that we've done a pretty bad job of it in the past. So we're going to talk a little bit about how identity is supposed to be the new perimeter, right? If you talk about zero trust, networks are no longer where the perimeter is. The bedrock of security is now firmly in identity. We want to make sure that the person at the end of the wire is the person that you think they are. And we have new ways of doing that we're going to talk about. First of all, if you want to learn more about this, please email us, nametag@beyondidentity.com, or if you want a personal demo of anything we're showing today, you can go to beyondidentity.com/demo and sign your team up to get a personalized demo of what we're demoing today. So traditionally, when we've done identity, we've been really bad at it. It used to be that when you had a phone, that phone could not hold a cryptographic key pair, right? It could not verify anything. And that is not the case today. So newer identity companies can leverage the fact that phones have the ability to hold cryptographic information locally. And that means that we have a way to get rid of passwords altogether. And the reason we want to do that is that passwords are really difficult for users to remember, and they're really easy for attackers to guess. And so they really don't accomplish any of the things that we want to accomplish when we're talking about identity. So identity as it exists today, which means like you're entering a password and then maybe you're getting an SMS on your phone, that is super weak. That is a very weak way to make sure that the person at the end of the wire is the person that you think that they are. And so we have invented a new way to do identity and access management and tie it directly to the device and the device posture. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The problem today is that there are increasing concerns over not just people. We talked about how passwords don't identify people well, but also devices. So 74% of IT and security professionals, that's you, say that security controls for unmanaged devices are not practical, and yet lots of people are working from their personal phones, they're working from their personal laptops, they're working from hotel kiosks, and we know that those are not as secure as they could be. 70% of successful cybersecurity breaches originate on endpoint devices. And so what we mean by endpoint devices is the laptop you're working on, the phone you're working on, right? Attackers don't break in, they don't log into they don't get into your network, right? They just log in as valid users. That's a huge problem, and that's where a lot of breaches come from today. And 67% of organizations had a security incident related to unmanaged devices in 2023. So we know that this is a source of security incidents on a regular basis, and yet we can't go backwards. We can't tell people you can't work from your phones anymore, right? That's going to reduce productivity across the company. So how do we get these unmanaged devices and managed devices to a place where we can actually prevent breaches? So to do this, we use something called phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication. And what we mean by phishing-resistant is that no matter how hard an attacker tries, no matter how convincing they are, there is nothing that your employee can say to them that will help them get into the system. There is no password to disclose. There is no 6-digit code coming from a text to disclose. There is no way for the attacker to convince the user that they need to get in. So how do we do that? So we leverage a local biometric on the phone. So this is your Face ID or your Touch ID from your phone. We leverage a digital key pair. And to do that, we use something called the TPM inside the phone. That is a secure enclave that holds cryptographic material. And so when you register with Beyond Identity as a user, we'll drop a key pair on your phone, a public key and a private key. And that private key is locked into that phone. This is not like a cloud passkey. Those are different. This is a key that stays on the device and cannot be moved, cannot be disclosed, cannot be shared. And so as long as the user is logging in from this device, an attacker can't get in unless they have physical access to the device itself. Because every time that user logs in, we check that key pair and we do a challenge. We make sure it's cryptographically signed. And then we say, aha, we know this is Sarah. We know this is James. We know this is Noah, because they registered on this phone, on this laptop, on this unmanaged device. And we can tell that it's coming from the exact same device that we have seen before. And then in addition to that, we have a policy engine that tells you about user and device risk. So you can sort users into roles and do role-based access control. You can single out specific users and say, hey, I want Sarah to have access to this, but not to that. And you can also get very granular about the types of devices you want to have access to your systems. So you can specify that you want a particular OS. You can specify that you want all SSH keys to be encrypted, for the hard drive to be encrypted. You can tell us all sorts of things that you want to be true about the devices that access your network, both managed and unmanaged. And we'll run that policy engine every time a user logs in. And we can also run it continuously throughout the session. So this is a vastly more secure way of doing identity and access management than has existed in the past. And we can do that because Beyond Identity was founded, as I said, after phones were able to have that secure enclave. So this is something that you won't see from legacy identity companies. They have passwords built into their infrastructure. It is part of the bedrock of what they do, and it's very hard for them to eliminate them. The way that Beyond Identity was founded, there has never been a password in our system. So there is no way for an attacker to get to that, to crack that, to guess what it is. So it's really exciting for us to be able to offer this new way of doing identity that's vastly more secure. And if you think, wow, that's weird, I've never logged in like that, how do you check the device? Like, it is not weird. You actually do make phishing-resistant transactions every day. If you pay for Starbucks with your mobile phone, or you go into a convenience store and you boop your phone, and then you either do a biometric, you look at your phone, or you enter a PIN, that is a phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication transaction, right? So you can sound very fancy the next time you pay for things and use lots of big words. But the point is that it's a very, very easy user experience. It's very simple. It's something that you do all the time. And it's something that will make it easier for your employees to log in rather than harder. So the feedback we get from our customers is, wow, my employees love this. They don't have to remember passwords. They don't have to rotate passwords. It is so much simpler for them to do a quick biometric on a device they know, and they're in, and that's it. So now that we have found a way to secure the authentication itself, how do we figure out the life cycle of the authentication? So after attackers say, oh man, I can't phish this, I can't get in, there is nothing I can convince this employee to give me that will let me log into the system, how did they get into the system? Well, there are a couple of ways. One is that a user can lose their device. So an attacker could call up your IT department and say, hey, I'm Sarah, I just dropped my phone in a lake and I need you to add this new phone to my account. Or you could come in at the front door and say, hey, I'm a job applicant, and you might actually be a deepfake, right? You might be someone who is pretending to be someone completely different, and you end up getting a job and you get a valid credential into the system. It doesn't matter how secure that credential is if it wasn't created for the right reason, right? And so that's what we call the life cycle, people who join, move, and leave the organization. And so we really searched at Beyond Identity for a way to fix this problem. And we found a lot of companies that had very clunky identity proofing solutions. Identity proofing is where you prove who you are in some manner. And the usability was terrible. The technology was had lots of false positives, lots of false negatives. And it was really hard for us to find a company that cared a lot about security, cared a lot about usability, and really paid attention to the cryptographic attestation of what was going on in the information flow. And so when we met folks from Nametag, we said, wow, this is perfect. This is exactly the solution that we need to have in our product. And so we are announcing this partnership, and we are so excited that this is going to become part of the Beyond Identity product.
So quick question here. One, there's two comments to what you said. The first comment, when you were giving out like the fake identities, everyone started going to the North Korean IT worker scam that's like been just all over for the last few weeks. And if you guys missed all the news stories on thehackernews.com, what planet have you been living on? Go check those out. The other one is a few of our viewers here are talking about, how is this different from Face ID on my phone?
That's a great question. So the way that some identity companies work is that they store your biometrics centrally. So you can get in from anywhere. But the problem with that is that it's a giant honeypot for attackers, right? If those biometrics get stolen, you can't rotate your fingerprint. You can't rotate your face. So really the more secure way to do it is to store it on the phone itself. So we literally use the iOS libraries for Face ID and Touch ID. So it is exactly the same as when you authenticate to your phone, when you unlock your phone with Apple or Google or whatever phone provider you use. We are using that local biometric on your phone. It is not a remote biometric. We don't store it. So you are in compliance with all privacy laws because there is literally nothing being stored. It is perfectly secure because there's nothing there.
Okay, that's great for me to know, because I use Face ID for everything. I think Noah does as well, and you do. Like, we all, like, Face ID is a thing. People like can't tell the difference, and I'm glad you clarified it, and our audience is thankful, Sarah.
And it's actually a really great question too, because we'll get into it a little bit later. I have a comparison to Face ID to make myself. It was perfect segue.
Oh, so we actually get a live demo of how this works?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, so don't go anywhere, everyone.
Yeah.
All right, we got a live demo. Go ahead. I'll shut up now. Let you go.
Oh, thank you. No, but awkward segue perhaps, but it's perfect. Thanks, James. Thanks Sarah. Just to begin with, I want to reiterate how exciting this partnership is. Really, this is security first access management meeting security first identity verification. As soon as Beyond Identity approached us, we saw the synergy between not just the Beyond Identity products and name tags products, but just the ethos behind each of those products. The importance in this current and emerging threat landscape of prioritizing security, and how legacy solutions were like this fundamental architectural problem that leaves them vulnerable. So just sort of as a quick piece of context, the reason this is so important and something I wanted to note is that we're seeing identity verification technology being embedded into more and more parts of our lives. I mean, everybody here is probably now engaged with this sort of solution before. If you've ever scanned your ID and taken a selfie in order to prove yourself, maybe when opening a bank account, that is identity verification in a nutshell. The trouble is that all of the existing solutions on the market are built for consumer-facing, really regulatory compliance use cases, like know your customer. Many times these solutions have like you'll even see this in the marketing, they're really focused on converting users into revenue. So there's a misalignment of incentives, if you will, when it comes to situations where security really needs to be prioritized, like when you're protecting workforce accounts against AI-powered imposters. I want to particularly note Akif Khan as a VP analyst at Gartner, who was made a number of comments about the increasing embedding of identity verification into these workforce use cases that we'll talk about in a moment. But he's also noted how hard it is for companies to evaluate identity verification providers, which is why I think the synergy of Beyond Identity and Nametag is so important, because the alignment is there, the differentiation is there, the value is there. And so hopefully the rest of this webinar will show you exactly that. Now, quickly want to give an overview of Nametag. I think you've been looking at this slide for a bit, so let me tell you what you actually see here. Nametag provides identity verification and account protection solutions for companies all around the world. We invented a new and more secure way of doing identity verification. We call this deepfake defense, and we have now embedded this into workforce account protection scenarios. We really created this category, you could say. I'm very proud that our technology has been endorsed by none other than legendary cryptographer Bruce Schneier, and our solutions have been endorsed by leading global enterprises, including, but very much not limited to, the companies that you see here. If we just advance the slide. Oh, go back one. Thank you. Okay. I want to quickly talk about some of the current threat landscape and the role of deepfakes, generative AI, and increasingly agentic AI. And I want to start with this concept that MFA protects accounts, but what protects MFA? Who watches the watcher? Sarah talked about this earlier. Even if you have a secure credential, like a phishing-resistant passkey, how do you know that the person resetting that passkey or enrolling it in the first place is themselves legitimate and not impersonating someone else, is not a bad actor trying to do something, right? It has become easier than ever to impersonate somebody else to a frankly frightening degree. James, the audience question about North Korean IT workers, this is perfect. And I'm really glad that somebody else brought this up so that I don't have to, because it's worth really diving into this. Literally just today, there was a huge new expose published in Wired on this very subject. That's following, I mean, I've been tracking this threat for, it's coming up on a year and a half now that I've been like actively on top of it. The FBI first warned about it in May 2022, somewhere around that. And this is really taken off. And this has gotten to the point where Gartner is now saying that by 2028, 1 in 4 job candidates are going to be fake. We've already seen reports that hundreds of the Fortune 500, I mean, Fortune 500 is hundreds of companies, and hundreds of those have already been breached. You know, do the math, have been breached by thousands of North Korean IT workers already. The scope of this threat is really off the charts. And I will say it's, evidence shows, without saying too much, evidence shows it's not just North Korea. What we see in the fraud world is that where one sort of group or even an individual succeeds, copycats follow. And so what fraudsters, organized threat actors down to your garden variety fraudster have all realized that it's really, really, really easy to use generative AI to impersonate somebody else. And it's really, really easy to do that and get a lot of benefit out of it. So there's this stat from Signicat, which I think is really valuable. There's well over 2,100% increase in deepfake attacks in the past year. Those attacks are taking a lot of forms, but we're here to talk about a certain type of attack where somebody's impersonating someone else in order to enroll or recover, reset a otherwise secure multi-factor authentication credential. All right, next slide, please. Thank you very much. All right, so let's talk about this how Nametag is partnering with Beyond Identity. Beyond Identity are fantastic because they've focused on secure credentials and only issuing secure credentials. You know that a Beyond Identity passkey is device-bound, attested, and secure. But you need to make sure that all of the lifecycle operations associated with that credential are themselves secure, namely enrollment and recovery. So what we've done here is place a deepfake defense identity verification gate, if you will, in front of those enrollment and recovery processes, and then embedded this into very intuitive self-service workflows that I'll show in just a moment. Effectively, what we are doing is ensuring that the person who is enrolling or resetting a passkey is themselves legitimate, that they're not impersonating somebody else, and that they're the right person, that they're who you expect them to be. The benefits are myriad. I mean, obviously we're strengthening account security, but we're also improving experiences for users who no longer have to go to their help desk in order to get their passkeys reset. And we're reducing support costs because, I mean, research shows that up to 50% of help desk tickets are just for password and MFA resets. If you can deflect all of those to self-service, you've alleviated an enormous burden on your help desk. And with that, I think we're ready to jump into a live demo. Let's do it.
So before we do that, let's get into some audience questions here.
Yes,
before
absolutely.
we get into the live demo. So we have a few questions here. Let me try and kind of pull it all into one. What would someone use this for? Is it job applicants, student applications, and would you use this to verify existing hires? Is that kind of the idea here?
Yeah, so this particular solution is about verifying that the person who is enrolling a credential is legitimate and really who they're supposed to be, as I said. Really, the role of this technology, though, is anytime you need to know that somebody really is who they say they are, that somebody is not impersonating someone else. So the use cases that we're seeing most frequently are onboarding. So whether that's employees, whether that's job applicants, whether that's student applicants too. Account recovery scenarios, password resets, MFA resets, passkey resets, and actually increasingly identity verification is being used as a step-up authentication factor, interestingly enough. With Nametag, for example, you can use us as a MFA factor for Okta and Entra. It's sort of the ultimate MFA factor, if you will, when you need that. The highest possible level of assurance is how I typically put it.
Love it. Well, we have the demo right in front of us here on screen,
right.
everyone. I know we're at 23 minutes. We're probably going to be running 5 to 10 minutes over now. I don't want to interrupt the demo, but just if you've got a meeting, hang on. If you can be late, do that. If not, this webinar is available on demand at thehackernews.com/webinars. Go back, watch whatever you missed anytime. Go ahead, Noah.
Great, thank you. All right, now for our audience here, I want you to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I want you to imagine that you are the new employee at your company and you've gotten your device and you're setting up your accounts and you're so excited to start your new job. And now it's come time to enroll your Beyond Identity passkeys because your company is smart and forward-thinking and security conscious, and they've deployed Beyond Identity to protect all of their directories and their directory accounts against phishing attacks and other threats. Typically, the way this would work is that you go through an enrollment flow, which involves you click on a link that was sent to your email address, and then you go through enrollment and that sort of thing. There are a number of sort of security challenges, I guess you could say, because ultimately that relies on the security of your personal email account. And you are smart and you use a strong password on that email account, and you have phishing-resistant MFA on that email account already, but your coworker might not be so smart. And they might be using a very guessable or password or a phishable MFA credential. So your company has come to Nametag and Beyond Identity to cover this sort of security flaw. As the new employee, your onboarding team or your IT team simply told you to go to really whatever whatever web address they say, recovery.acme.com, for example. And you're presented with a screen that looks like this. Account enrollment. All you need to do is simply enter your email address, which I'm going to do on my second monitor over here. Press the button that says enroll account.
Now everyone has Noah's email. Blast his email.
Yes, please don't abuse the PII that I'm going to be sharing with you all today. I'm sharing this with you in greatest trust. Now on the right, you should be seeing my phone mirrored, although I believe there may be a bit of lag in the lag there. Now, James, quickly, do you see the camera app opening on my phone, or is that not coming through?
We're not seeing that come through on our end.
That's frustrating. All right, we'll try restarting that.
There we go. Let's see.
Mirroring disconnected, retry, connecting to an iOS device. See, this is the challenge of doing a live demo.
Well, this is the beauty of a live demo, though.
I know, exactly. It makes it more real. You know that this is not pre-recorded. All right, there we go. So now you're seeing my desk. All right. So what we're doing, what you see here is that I'm being prompted to scan a QR code. What this is doing for those security-minded folks amongst us is pivoting me to my mobile device off of my desktop. And the reason Nametag does this is because modern smartphones include a number of features that we can use for security that I'll talk about in a moment that web browsers do not have. And this is very important if you are ever out there evaluating identity verification products. Any product that allows the use of a web browser, or God forbid, a document upload, is highly susceptible to what we call injection attacks, which is the insertion of false media. And I'm happy to go deep on that rabbit hole and deep on that tangent if somebody in the audience wants to, but let's move on with the demo. So first thing I'm going to do here is scan the QR code. Now you see what opens up on my phone is what Apple calls an app clip. On Android, this is an instant app. This is an app-like native feature of iOS and Android. It provides me with a totally mobile native experience without ever having to download an app from the App Store. So this is much, much easier for the users who do not have to do any sort of downloads or be pre-enrolled at all. As I open this app clip, Nametag is establishing a cryptographically attested, digitally signed chain of trust between Nametag and my device that extends all the way down to the hardware level of my phone. We are checking that my phone is not rooted, not jailbroken, that the hardware has not been modified, that we are running a legitimate, the actual correct version of the app clip, all of this. What this does is effectively prevent an attacker from attempting an injection attack because we have this cryptographically attested chain of trust between the services. We are verifying the legitimacy, the validity of the data that is being sort of flowing between my device and Nametag. Now I'm going to be prompted to scan my ID. I'm asked for my consent. We're explaining exactly what I'm being asked to do and why I'm being asked to do it. And I press scan now. Authorize access to my camera. And I'm going to come back over here to make sure that there we go. Looks like there's a little bit of lag between me and the mirroring. So, all right, now I'm going to scan the front of my ID. This is Nametag's adaptive document verification feature, where we automatically recognize the type of license, scan it, quickly scan the barcode on the back, and we're done. Now I'm going to be asked to take a quick selfie. Nametag is using the depth map on my iPhone. So we come back to the same camera that is used for Face ID, plus a number of other sensors to perform an advanced spatial liveness check to make sure that I'm actually physically in front of the camera and that I am actually taking a selfie, and I'm not impersonating somebody else or holding up a printed out selfie or anything like that. And you can see the verification has succeeded. We have validated that I have a legitimate government ID. We have validated that I took a legitimate selfie, and we have validated that my selfie matches the photo on my ID. And now I'm ready to confirm my identity with Beyond Identity. Then over here on the left side, you can see the web portal is automatically updated, and now I'm ready to enroll my Passkey. So I can just, if I want to, I can just click through and finish the Passkey enrollment process. This is entirely self-service, super simple and easy. Now, let's go back here though. Pretend that it's 6 months later. I was out, for me, canoe camping, say, and I dropped my phone in the lake. Nothing I can do, it's bottom of the lake, never getting it back. I get back to work and I tell my IT team, hey, I got a new phone. I need to recover my Passkey. I need to reset my Passkey so I can re-enroll it on my new phone. Rather than having to go to my IT team and tell them, hey, I need to do this and create a nightmare for them, I can just go back to this same site. And instead of saying enroll my Passkey, I'm now just going to recover my Passkey. So this time I enter the same email address, know@nametag.co, and I click recover account. And you'll see, once again, I'm prompted to scan a QR code. Once again, the app flip will open. We'll wait for the screen mirroring to catch up while I drink a bit more water.
It takes just a minute, but
yep, here we go. So once again, the app clip is opened. Again, I have not downloaded any sort of app. I tap open, but you'll see that this time, because I am on the same device and I previously scanned my ID, I'm recognized. And all I need to do now is take a new selfie. And I'm verified. And now I can go ahead to recover my Passkey. And that's it.
Amazing. Amazing. So we do have some audience questions here coming from the demo. All right. So Ryan's got a question about how would this be different from maybe scanning your ID to open a bank account or anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Not to get too deep into the technological differences here, but there's a couple of fundamental differences. The first and most important, perhaps, is this idea of an injection attack I mentioned earlier, and this concept of cryptographic attestation. So when you're scanning your ID to open a bank account, often, I won't say always, but often, what you're doing is probably you're in a web browser. You may even be using the camera on your laptop or your desktop. Maybe you're using the camera on your phone, but it's all happening through a mobile browser. Web browsers are really easy to hijack in order to insert false data. So somebody can just create a very high quality deepfake ID impersonating you with all of your personal information that's just publicly available. They got your photo off of Facebook, inject that into the system. And although there are a lot of companies out there who have deployed various injection attack detection techniques, what we've seen is that these attacks are really difficult to detect after the fact reliably. So this is why Nametag performs this cryptographic attestation and exclusively pivots you to your mobile device. There are a number of other differences there, including we automatically recognize the type of ID. We don't require you to manually input any of the information. Some of the other companies do this, but that architectural difference is probably the most important one for this audience to understand.
Yeah, that's part of why we wanted to partner with Nametag. Is it's really important to us that the cryptographic attestation that we have around authentication is maintained, whether it's a credential being enrolled, a credential being checked at runtime, or a credential being recovered. It's really important that we know that the camera that's being used, right, is the camera that we think it is, from the OS we think it is, that it's not jailbroken, that there is no way to insert data besides that live image. And Nametag has found a way to do that. And so that's why this partnership makes a lot of sense to us. We don't want to compromise our security at any point in the identity lifecycle. It's really important that that whole lifecycle be consistent.
Exactly. Very well said. I think I have a couple of other slides here, but we can just quickly jump through them. So I just, on a sort of a general level, what you just saw happening. First, I was verifying that I am a legitimate person, that I'm not impersonating somebody else. That is what is being done when you verify. You scan an ID and you take a selfie, you compare the two, verifying that you're not impersonating somebody else. The next step, and this is pretty critical, is to verify that I am the right person. And this is where Nametag has built a patented technology we call intelligent account binding to compare my verified identity information to the corresponding information in the Beyond Identity directory. And once that's done, once we know that A, I'm not impersonating somebody else, and B, I am actually like the correct no outlier, we can then proceed to allow me to do provisioning or account recovery. That is a critical step of the process, this idea of account binding and verifying that I'm actually the right person, not just a legitimate non-imposter. And there we go. That's the Beyond Identity and Nametag partnership in a nutshell. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say.
Yeah, if you're interested in learning more, you can email us, nametag@beyondidentity.com. Or if you want to go ahead and sign up for a demo, you can go to beyondidentity.com/demo and let us know, and we'll get in touch with your team and set up some time.
Now, I'm assuming you're both going to be at Identityverse.
Oh, yeah.
My company will be there. I won't be there, but Beyond Identity will be there for sure.
Awesome.
Nametag will be there as well. Likely.
So if you are planning on being at Identityverse, go make sure to check these guys out as well. And it should be get this demo live in person. Try it yourself. Make sure that it's it is what they say it is right here. Anything else, Noah, Sarah, before we sign off here for today's webinar?
No, thanks so much, everybody. I'm really glad that we got the chance to share this technology with you. We're really excited that there are new and better ways of doing things, and we hope that you'll come adopt them.
Yeah, go check out, obviously, identity is the new perimeter. Sarah said that early on, but here on the Hacker News webinars for the last 3 years as your moderator, we've constantly talked about identity being the new perimeter. Thanks to our partners at Beyond Identity and Nametag for coming on the show, coming on the webinar here today and sharing so much information. For all y'all watching, if you have any other topics you want to hear from us, we'd love to hear those. Go to hackernews.com/webinars. Let us know what topics are top of mind for you. We'll do our best to go and find the right people to come and present the best solutions to help you become a better security practitioner. On behalf of myself, Beyond Identity, Nametag, and the team behind your favorite website, thehackernews.com, thank you all for being here today, and stay cyber safe.